All right, it's me and it's Stocks, and we're just gonna ramble all this stuff together, Stocks, because it's getting closer to the playoffs, and going week by week, just not getting it done. So let's look at the season in kind of a glass window and kind of compare things. Statistically, this has just been a crazy season. On the passing leaders, you got Matt Ryan and Blaine Gabbert just absolutely tearing it up. I don't know how they play so well, and me and Stocks really aren't gonna break that game down because honestly, maybe we can get Alex to do it, but we're not offensive geniuses like these two guys are. I guess you could say. We don't know how you do it. I mean, I barely can get 5 touchdowns in a season, let alone a game like some of these guys do. I mean, Blaine Gabbert's got over 3,000 yards and 35 touchdowns, and Matt Ryan's got 29 and just 3,000 yards again. I mean,
it's all well and fine, what they did, but
I don't know how they did it though.
You're gonna run into a buzzsaw one of these days, and later on, and
yeah.
Let's see what happens then.
Well, Alex is still in the playoff race, but he's got to tighten that defense up because if he makes it, he's got to be able to stop some guys. And maybe some of those points were scored on defense. I don't know, but I'm just saying there's two quarterbacks putting up astronomical numbers, and I don't know how they're doing it, to be completely honest. But it's not just them. I mean, Hakeem Nicks is over 1,000 yards, over 11 touchdowns. I mean, you got Dallas Strong, the rookie, with 12 touchdowns. I mean, he's a rookie. And then you look at another rookie, Jamie Brooks, the tight end, who I spoke about in the beginning of the season, just being a monster, and he's living up to it. But these numbers are crazy, though. You got 49 tackles, which is a pretty good number. I actually got a guy with 39 tackles, so and that's not unreasonable. But here's the insane thing about the defense. We got Cameron Wake with 26 sacks on the season. And we're not even done with the season yet.
Yeah, he's far and above the rest of the pack of the Jared Allens and the Peppers and the Clays, and I mean he's just playing remarkable, and whatever the Miami owner is doing is finding that hole, and he's just taking it.
And you know what? Then people are like, well, 26 sacks is not Sam or whatever, but to be honest, I haven't heard one guy complain about his game gameplay. So maybe Cam Wake just really got it going, and who's to say that's non-sim, because it happens on offense all the time. Tom Brady breaks the record that one year he had Randy Moss. That that was crazy when it happened, and no one thought it could be done, and they go out and put so now the defense is putting up some amazing numbers in Miami.
Yeah, that's a great point what you just said, and this year we had 3 NFL quarterbacks throw for 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
That's unheard of, a couple of years ago. So, yeah, the game is changing a little bit, and maybe the Madden is right behind it a little bit.
Yeah.
But because you can pick out what's sim and what's not sim, and you also can get certain guys in this chat room and around the league say something about the person, and you kind of get that reputation just for a few things.
Yep.
But the Miami owner I haven't heard one little quarrel or one little suspect thing on him. So
and again, if there is something suspect, come forth, because you're not being a man, you're not being I don't want to rat out a guy kind of thing. If you're letting this non-sim stuff happen, you're not doing a favor to the league. You're not doing a favor to yourself, because the guy's just going to continue to do it. That being said, I'm not saying he's doing it. I'm just saying if anyone,
exactly.
me, you,
that's
whatever.
That's make the league better.
But you also got the guys who are kind of jealous sometimes about losses or whatever, and they say things about an owner, and then when the heat of the moment cools down, they're like, no, that wasn't. I was just hot about it. No, a lot of that stuff hasn't happened in this league, and that's what makes it great. And so I have to applaud that, because no one's really come out and said this guy's non-sim. No one really complains about his game. I really saw, while playing him. And in a lot of leagues, you'll get that. You get the guy who is really just disappointed he lost and will call the owner unfairly. And you don't have a lot of that. Now, if that happens, you gotta let people know, because otherwise, that's why we have to have adults in this league, because we're not going to babysit anyone. But just from a stats point of view, knowing this guy Sim, that's pretty crazy. I think he's averaging like 5 sacks a game. So
you may want to double him.
well, you know what I would do? I'd roll out to the other side, and I'd only give it about 3, not even 3 steps, probably 2-step drops, roll out to the other side, and pass it, because you know if he's coming with that much pressure, somebody's got to be open. The football is, I mean, sometimes football is a very simple game, Stocks.
Oh yeah.
If too many guys are coming at you and the line can't hold up, you know somebody's wide open or something's going on. So you just got to find it. And in his opponent's case, you better find it quick, because, like I said, the guy's averaging like at least 4 sacks a game, I think. So that's pretty crazy and pretty great for his perspective. Now, I don't think Miami, they're having an alright season, but they're not even doing that wonderful. So could you just imagine if they got their offense going a little bit? No, I think they've had some quarterback issues and some quarterback questions in their games, but.
Well, there's a jam lock in that division with the Dolphins at 5-5 and the Jets at 5-5.
Yeah, and the
Bills
Jets
at 3-6, and the shocker is the Patriots 3-7.
Yeah, and you know people were saying, oh, you know, I don't know if you should have gave up that trade, you know, because you gave Adrian Foster away. Maybe me taking Matt Light really hurt his game, because I took it. You know, a really good offensive lineman. Although he had some young guys in there, I took his veteran offensive lineman. And you remember a season ago, before I made that trade, he had some of the best passing numbers with Hernandez, I think it was, his tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So now that he's missing that offensive lineman, maybe that's not allowing him to set up the pass as well, or maybe, you know, I'm not saying I got the best end of the deal. I'm just saying, you know, we've always said it with even with the if you want to go far back to the Packers and that trade. When you make a trade that big, sometimes you don't actually see the results until the season, you know, the season after.
Yeah, because you're basically getting, you know,
yeah,
the person you're used to, you know, you haven't used them ever, you know. So yeah, I definitely agree.
So that's interesting about the Jets, though. The Jets, remember, we didn't really talk about the Jets. All we really did in the first season, we talked long ago about the Holmes trade he made with Alex and the Jacksonville Jaguars. He got Mathis, and then after that, we really haven't hit on the Jets. And part of it's our fault, and part of it's honestly like his fault. I think in the second season he kind of faded and didn't give us much to talk about. But in this season, he's came up with some really, even though he's 5-5, he's came out with some really exciting gameplay. He beat the Patriots 22-21. So either you got to dominate, or you got to have some really crazy games for us to talk about it. That seems to be the formula. So if anyone wants to get their games talked about, either have a really close one, or be, you know, killing it in your division. But yeah, the Jets. He didn't do anything spectacular on offense. It didn't look like. None of his receivers in that game were over 100 yards. Sean Green didn't even have a 30 yards. His longest was 10. But what Mark Sanchez did is he managed the game like he should, and he spread the ball around, and they got turnovers.
Yeah, looking over the Jets team and them as a whole,
yep.
You look at them now, they're almost similar to real life Madden right now. You know, you got Sanchez at quarterback, you got Sean Green as your running back, you got Dustin Keller as a main target, you got Plexico.
Mm-hmm.
So you still have LaDainian Tomlinson.
Does he retire next season?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And on the defensive side of the ball, you know, you got the Bart Scott, the Jim Leonard, you know, the shutdown corner and Revis. Now,
is his defense too old, do you think? It's particularly, you know, like.
Yeah, he's got Rashid Matthews on the other side. Yeah, it has some holes. You know, I mean, Bart Starr is not the youngest guy, so yeah, he definitely probably would look, you know, to maybe to add some, you know, some young guys on that defensive side of the ball.
Now Revis is still young. He got rid of Cromartie, so.
Yep.
I think this owner is surprising. He's done some good things, and he can make some noise in the playoffs if he gets in. Now that division's still a jamble. Who's gonna get in? What's gonna happen? Is it safe to say that the Patriots are done though?
Yeah, pretty much at that record. Yeah, I would most likely say they are.
And everyone thought. Remember the first game he played? I think this season he put up like I think 4 touchdowns with Foster, and everyone's saying, "Well, you passed so great with Tom Brady last year. Hernandez was a big part of it, and all these things." And and now adding Foster and his 4 touchdowns and everything, he's gonna do, take that next step, and it hasn't happened. I talked about maybe it happens next year because sometimes it takes them gelling, the gelling process. I think a lot of people underestimate that. I really do. They think, oh, the whole chemistry thing is just for real life. Listen, if you never played with a guy, or a guy comes onto your team and you're not used to running the ball, and you're a pass-oriented offense, man, in real life, it takes a while to get that guy into rhythm.
And get the best out of him, what he's good at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it almost takes a season to find out, okay, he's really good at this type of run, and vice versa, he's not good at this type of a run, or you know what I mean? He can't catch out of the backfield right now. So yeah, that's definitely.
And we're not talking just about Foster. We're talking about all kinds of trades. I mean, we focused a lot on the Green Bay trade, last season, and we could point to a number of trades. Maybe getting Cromartie really helped the Steelers this year. Maybe that because remember he's got a lot of young corners, so maybe Cromartie helps him, or we could always go back to, is a trade good or bad? I think it depends on the owner, and it depends on how familiar you are with that player. But I don't really think it was a bad deal for me or him. I think we both got what we needed for it. I had a young running back who I wanted to get in there. Foster's still a 95, so it's not a bad deal at any means. I'm just saying, I think people expected him to kind of show out. And like I said, the Jets faded earlier last season. I don't think people really gave him, much credit of anything. And he's fighting in that division. And that just speaks to, I think we always talk about this week to week, but it's so true. The parity in this league is really amazing. I mean, and we still have an unbeaten team. Luckily, I got off the board. Sorry, Stocks.
Oh yeah.
But the Rams are still undefeated, and not undefeated. They probably wish they were undefeated. They're winless, and I hope no one goes winless in this league. It's just something you don't want to see. And I'll tell you, if I'm playing you this week, anything can happen. So the Rams, just keep your head up, man, because it could be next week. It could be 2 weeks from now, And, we talked about the tanking press. I'd like to spend a few moments of that on air. Me and Stocks do not think that's a good philosophy. I mean, if you do, we can't stop you. There's no really way to police it. But we're talking about losing games on purpose to solidify a good pick. For one thing...
Sorry, I just got a chuckle. I think it's kind of funny.
Well, I know the competitor in you would never do that. Thinks the process is probably just downright idiotic, and no offense to anyone who does it, but that's just how we think. And to be honest, what are we in our second season now, going into our third?
Yep.
So you're looking at the second draft, our third year. How many years are we gonna play, fellas? 4, maybe 5 if we're lucky. Is that first round pick that valuable? I mean, he's going to come in, okay, he's going to be a high 80 pick if you're lucky. And that's if you're lucky and you get in the top 5 or whatever. Even if you do that, he's only going to be a top 80. By the time he progresses, maybe he's in 85. High 80s at that point. But we're not going to play a season after that. So you're getting a high 80 and you're losing game experience. And for one thing, you're just ruining... Maybe it's fun for you to lose games. I don't know. I'm just saying, I thought we were here to play our games, and I thought, I learn best through winning games and, trying new things, and I'm all for that. And sometimes you try things and they don't work out and you lose, and that's okay. But I just don't understand the idea, I'm going to lose to get a better pick. maybe in the first season I can understand that. Maybe. I mean, if that's how you think. I personally can't think that way. But I don't see any value in it. You're talking, second and third draft. We're not going to play that many seasons. That's just my opinion on that.
My quick opinion. I'm not going to stay on this because it's kind of silly in a way. If you're looking for that one player and you're going to diminish your skills of becoming better just to get that player, you're wasting your time. You're not going to progress. You're only going to degress because you're not learning anything. You're learning how to lose. Okay, that's great. That's fine. I want to learn how to win. You know what I mean? So
I'll tell you something. I'll bring it back to real life. The Lions a few seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, made it 0-16. That was very hard on the fan base. It was very hard on the players. I know real life isn't Madden, but when you get that losing mentality in your locker room, or okay, I'll take it in game sense. If you get that losing mentality when you pick up the controller every week, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to lose," or "I'm going to try to lose," eventually that doesn't just become a thing. It becomes a kind of a cancer in a way. It becomes a thing you just expect, and
a second habit.
Yeah, that you don't want to make losing a habit, real life or not. Because look at the Lions. Now we're in the playoffs, and everyone was talking about how it's so great to see us in the playoffs. When really we had the talent to be in the playoffs this season, but people were acting like it was so magical because we had that. Once you have that losing stink on you, people just expect you to keep losing. So I don't know. It's not a good thing for me. I wanted to spend a little time on that because I know it's one of those block crowds no one really likes to talk about. No, even the people that do it don't really like to talk about it. But people are doing it right now. So I'm just saying, I know the Rams. He's trying. I talked to him. He's trying to win. He's just not very good right now. He doesn't feel. And I said, hey, if you don't think you're very good, the only way to get better is to keep grinding. Learn from your division. Learn from your mistakes. Heck, maybe now that he's out of the playoffs, he tries something wild. He tries a new playbook.
Yeah. Yep. That's how you do it.
Maybe he tries running with the quarterback. I wouldn't try it with Sam Bradford, but maybe he can sign. Dennis Dixon's a free agent. Dallas just released him. So maybe he gets a running quarterback. He implements some wildcat formations. That being said about tanking, tanking is a different. If you're trying to win, that's different than trying different things. Hey, I just want to see this kid get a win. I think it's very important for everyone to win in this league. And if you don't, it's no big deal. Everyone's competitive, and you can bounce back after one season. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't make the playoffs, and now they're right in there for the playoff race. So you never know. We look at a team like Oakland who won the Super Bowl, and now they're definitely not going to make it. They lost to Denver this week, and they're done for good. We want to put our condolences on the gravesite of the Oakland Raiders this season, and just say good luck next season.
Or just a Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, well, you drank a little too much because the hangover lasted a little too long. I think this guy's a really good player. I just think that you're right, that Super Bowl hangover. We're going to come back. We talked about some things and some philosophies and what we wouldn't do, what we would do. Now, actually, we're going to throw into overtime. We got plenty of time yet. We got about 15 minutes. We can still bicker like a couple hens. So let's just keep this thing rolling. We got some games that didn't get played yet this week, but I want to get to a game that was played last week. I want to get to the Bills and the Giants. Giants finally got his first loss this season. And as I get to the game, I'll just let you know he did win this week, though. And unfortunately for Dallas, he took that loss out on him a little bit. But getting back to the Bills, again, that's a team we don't talk about, Stocks. I think this is becoming the podcast where, guys that we don't talk about are finally either getting mad at us or doing something, but they're getting recognition this week. Because the Bills, who would have thought that was the team that beat them this season? But you just never know, and that's that gives hope to the guys like the Rams, and even the Buccaneers last week played the Panthers and only lost by a few points, 28-31. So teams that you thought were dead in the water are just finally showing up. maybe they finally figured something out. So you just gotta keep trying new things. Let's see if I can find this game. I'm looking for it now.
Yeah, the Bills actually, I'll help you out here. The Bills ended up beating the Giants 49-35. To put up 49 points against the Giants defense is remarkable. Yeah, that's just remarkable. And quarterback Smith threw 3 touchdowns. That's Stevie Johnson came out with a big game for 3 receptions, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's just a clean game. And to have Eli throw 2 interceptions, you're playing good defense. Kudos to the Bills, and a big win is definitely needed for that team.
I talked to the Bills after the game, did some sideline reporting, if you will, and he said he got lucky in this game. But I don't think you can say you got lucky beating an undefeated team. Now, some luck goes into it, but some luck always goes into any game, win or lose, or sometimes you get a bad break and the other team gets some luck and they win the game. But sometimes that kind of stuff happens. I mean, luck is part of the game, but this guy he beat up the Giants.
Yeah, he played a perfect game. Looking over the stats, he just played a perfect all-around game.
Yeah, I mean, well, look at it. He had the lead. He had a big lead in the first half. The Giants come back, from what I can tell. He puts the pressure back on him. It looks like the momentum is swinging his way. And then again in the fourth, the Bills just keep coming. 67-yard pass to Stevie Johnson, 67-yard touchdown pass. He gets a Cortland Finnegan 101-yard interception return to seal the game for good. I mean, but 43 seconds in the fourth quarter, he throws to Stevie Johnson a 42-yard pass. I think the game was tied at that point, or maybe it wasn't tied. He got that late interception, so it makes the game not look as close. But you got to remember, it was like a 1-possession game or 2-possession game near the end of the game. So these guys definitely fought it out, and like I said, the Bills definitely deserve the win.
Yeah, because the Bills put up a 28 spot in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
I mean, that's just remarkable.
Yeah. What about Hines Ward, though? He always he's the old man on the team, but he got a touchdown. He didn't get many yards, only had one pass.
One pass for 8 yards, touchdown.
But you know what it was? It was a touchdown. Not saying, that didn't win the game, but, every touchdown is important in a game like that. And you need your veterans, and he definitely helped. The Bill says he didn't do anything spectacular. He got lucky, but whenever you can not throw any interceptions, your chance of winning in Madden, in my opinion, especially in this league, is an 85% chance. If you don't throw any interceptions, there's automatically an 85% chance you're going to win. Because interceptions lead to points, they lead to momentum shifts. So when you don't give those up, you got a great chance to win, and that's exactly what happened. He managed the game perfectly.
Yeah, and the Bills also held the G-men under 100 yards rushing with the battering ram of Jacobs and Bradshaw, so that's excellent.
Which we know is great, because even Bradshaw, who's small as he is, he can slam you a few times. So keeping him under 100 yards is really impressive. Me and Stocks are going to come right back after this. We're going to break down some of Stocks' favorite games of the week. We'll be right back, fellas. We're back. Don't you love TV? Or at least the way we do it. Hit the play button on the YouTube and you're right back with us. No commercials, no having to record us, no kids in the background. We just get things done. And me and Stocks are back. And was there any games that stuck out to you?
This week would be, the Denver Broncos are an intriguing team. It seems like they've been really on the roll, really putting things together. Beating the Super Bowl champs in the division, 24-20. I think the Broncos got something here going.
Yeah.
The Tebow show, and I like the receivers. Brandon Lloyd,
Tony G.
Yeah, you got Tony G, Eddie Royal. You got Thomas. So yeah, on the Russian side, Fred Jackson. He's not a bad runner, and you got the legs of Tebow. The defensive side, like we've said, we've talked about their defensive side of the ball. Those 4 studs, Joseph, Bailey, Miller. These guys, they got a really good core, and he's putting together the wins. He's putting up together the stats of all these guys, and he could, this could be, coming down to them in Kansas City.
Now, that brings me to an interesting point. Now, we see that Houston beat Kansas City in a thriller of a game, 56-59. Do you think Houston's for real? Do you think they hold off the Jags?
That's gonna be a bloodbath to the end, I think.
It always comes back to me with the Houston Texans. And I'm sorry, Houston, but you always have one impressive win, and then the next week or the next few weeks, you're not consistent enough for me. And I don't know if it's because you're so high powered on offense and you're not so focused on defense, or what it is. Maybe it's my personal disliking of you, which I don't dislike you. It might just sound like I do sometimes, but trust me, I don't. But it just seems like he has really good wins. And you're like, okay, he's for real. He beat KC, and then he goes out the next week and he doesn't do so well. He goes out, and he loses 2 in a row. Then he wins 1. He can never really hold on to, so we'll see. The team, I thought that division would be a 3-man race between the Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans, but Tennessee fell off a little bit. Now, I don't know why that is, but he didn't really change up his team a lot from what I saw, Stock. So I don't know why he fell off so much.
Going back to our shows before, I wasn't. The Titans wide receiver core, yeah, they got that great tight end in Cook, but just as overall, Mike Sims Walker, okay. Nate Washington, okay. Julian Edelman, okay. I know you got Chris Johnson, but he can only do so much. You know what I mean? So
he lost Chris Johnson in the game, and that's why he got him back, but it was just a game-time injury, and that he claims that's why he lost, and he's had some injury bugs with Chris Johnson. But the thing is you can't rely just on Chris Johnson. Well, you can't just rely on, Chris Cook, because people start to key on that. I mean, stuff that worked in one season, we've talked about this. It doesn't matter if it's me, you, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Green Bay. You cannot do the same things you did last year. You got to mix. If the things you did last year worked, that's great. Still keep doing that to an extent, but you got to kind of mold. You got to learn new things. You got to extend. You got to adjust. Every year, it's got to be something. What was it with the Green Bay Packers? He doesn't really run the ball that well. He didn't really run the ball that well last season, and we kept on saying that's why. Maybe he's out of the race, or he hasn't done as good as he should be doing. Well, he comes out and he runs the ball this year, and he's had a lot better success. So, I can't answer that for the Tennessee Titans. Maybe all it is he passes the ball a few more times to a few more receivers, or, he takes a few more chances with Jake Locker, or he, tightens up that defense. But why does that division always seem like it's the Arena Football League? I don't know what it is, man. They got some good defensive players in that division too. It's just that league in itself. They all seem like Arena Football players, man.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the points scored and the points against. Houston Texans, 361 points for, 328 points against. Jacksonville Jaguars, 359 points for, 407 points against.
Yeah,
wow.
Okay, let's look at the leading Texans. Let's look at his main defensive guys as he actually usually uses them. Okay, he's got. Let's see. I'm looking for any big names. Maybe that's the problem, but okay. I think he's got Derek Johnson, 85 overall. Pretty solid linebacker. Should be able to do some things. He has 42 tackles, which is nice, but tackles can be misleading because you could give up a 25, yard gain and tackle the guy and still get credit for it. He's only got 3 sacks, okay, but that's an 85 overall guy. You probably expect maybe a little bit more from him. Let's see. He's got, I don't know what it is with some of these guys. He didn't look to have that good a defense, and maybe that's his one weakness. But I don't know, this league, that division particularly, I think that's why it's always wide open. Do you agree, Stocks? Is because none of them can play defense.
I don't think any of them have an identity either. If you can score that many points, I guess you're just air them out, throw them out, running gun shoot,
I don't know. Well, let me look at it. I think this guy might be a rookie, so I can't compare what he does in real life or anything like that. But yeah, this kid's a rookie. He got 2 interceptions from this rookie who's a 72 overall, so he's definitely not playing top tier, which is fine if you're not playing top tier defenses. But I think that's part of the problem with that division and why it's so wide open every year. And hey, man, if you want to play a wide open division every year, that's cool. I mean, but it looks simple to me. Just get some defense in that division, and you'll be okay. Because even Alex, who has a little bit better defense. Landry has 1 forced fumble and 7 tackles. But then you go down the list, and no one really sticks out to me as a great defensive player. He's got his young defensive tackle with 2 tackles. What's the key? If you would add one ingredient to make that a really spicy division again, if you were going to take over that division, you would say you would do it through defense, right?
Because you would want to slow down the other team.
Hey, I'm not saying the Houston Texans got the wrong philosophy. I love his offense. He's got Miles Austin, he's got Andre Johnson, he's got Javan Best, he's got all the offensive weapons in the world. And it's working. He's 7-3. He's only lost 3 games. I'm just saying. I don't know if that's consistent enough in the playoffs. Maybe it is. I have always said it. I'm gonna be the guy that challenges you, and if you want to shut me up, it's easy. Just do it in the gameplay. Go to the playoffs, Houston, and win a playoff game, and I'll apologize right on the spot. But right now, I don't see that dominating. They say defense wins championships, and maybe not all defense wins championships, but you got to have some element of defense, and I don't see much of it in that division. I think that's why you see a bunch of close games all the time. 44-41. So just so the Houston Texans don't think I'm bragging on them, that's the Jacksonville Jaguars score against the Colts. So the Colts puts up 41 points, which is probably his highest point total of the year. It just seems like that division is always up in the air because they don't have any defense. I'd like to ask you a few more things.
Okay.
Do you think Oakland's done for good, or do you think, that one season they get a high draft pick and they'll be right back in it? Basically, do you think they're a Super Bowl contender, or do you think they had that one season where they wowed everyone and kind of flooded off?
I'd have to give you a yes, just because of his gameplay. Obviously,
yeah.
Looking over the Raiders aren't, they're not the wow team on paper. So a player like him, I think his play skill, is good enough to always make a run.
I agree, and I think with him getting, I don't think he did it on purpose, but unfortunately, maybe a blessing in disguise a little bit. He's gonna get a really, really good player in the draft, and maybe that really player, but. That's because his gameplay is always already developed. He's a good gamer. We know that. The problem with tanking is a lot of people that tank aren't good game players, and they expect that one player to be good. On his perspective, he's already a good player, so a good player in the draft would only help him. And I think you're right. I don't think he's done, and I think he rebuilds a little bit. And he used Terrell Pryor this season. Terrell Pryor's only going to get better. He's going to develop a little bit. It's his first season using Terrell Pryor, so this is kind of his rookie season, if you will. Once he gets used to him, I think he'll only get more dangerous. What about the New York Giants? Do you think he wins the Super Bowl?
That's an interesting question.
Ever. That's what I'm saying. Not just this season.
Yeah.
I'm saying ever. I mean, he's only lost, what, 2 games this season?
Yeah.
I mean, in 2 seasons. He puts up these great season numbers, but, I mean...
To make a deep run, you don't...
You know who he's going to get compared to if he doesn't win it this year?
Who's that?
Your buddy from the sunny state of California. He's going to get compared to North Turner. He is. He's going to be the guy who wins a bunch of games and gets you there and has these late runs and can do all these great things until it matters. And, I think he wins one. I'm just saying, be careful, New York. If you don't, North Turner is your comparison.
Yeah, it's like, when does the pressure mount up too much, knowing that you do all this great stuff?
And, his
but
loss...
that one game you come just a couple points short. You know what I mean? It's just, in a way, it's cruel because he's got the game, he's got the skills. So it's almost like, he should.
You know where he lost last year? He lost in the Super Bowl. A lot like the Patriots did against the Giants. So maybe this loss and during the season when it isn't going to, break the camel's back, if you will, maybe that actually helps him in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he's, release some pressure on that pressure, gauge and it goes down a little bit.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yep.
Hopefully I like the Giants. He's a straight up guy. He's a great guy. I don't know if he can win one, but I'm just saying if he doesn't, watch out for the North Turner comparisons. Any questions for me? Oh, good, because I got plenty for you. Let's see. The Steelers. Do you think? He's always been a running guy. He loves to run. He loves his young running backs. We know that from playing with him for previous years. Do you think that Ross guy that he got, that draft pick he was so excited about, did some wheeling and dealing, got the Ross? Do you think that particular player makes an impact in his playoff run?
Yeah, I believe so. He's number 3 in the league for rushing.
Yeah, and he's only a rookie.
So he's got 155 attempts for 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. You got still Rashad Mendenhall. He's got the 10 touchdowns. So yeah, he's definitely pounding and grounding with these 2 guys. I just like that style, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got Roethlisberger still there. So yeah, and the defense is still stout. I mean, this guy is deadly. So yeah, it could be his year.
He got Cromartie, so Cromartie isn't going to last a long time. Isn't going to make it a long time in this league. He's maybe not even a shutdown corner this year, but he's going to help the Steelers. When it matters. He's still got deadly speed. Do you think Cincinnati's out of it?
Cincinnati's another interesting team.
Yeah, they are.
They could be up, they could be fighting for a wild card spot, like last year again. So, yeah, he's a quiet team that, just goes about his business and, puts up good wins and good numbers. And I would definitely say he could definitely make a playoff run.
A psychologist would really like him, man. He's up and then he's down, and he's up and he's down. And psychologists would make a lot of money off a team like that. I also do think the Bengals make it in the wild card if everything falls into place like I think it will. Obviously, we're not going to do any playoff predictions. That would just be silly. But Green Bay, do you think they make it as a wild card?
Yeah. Manny could definitely. I see him. Yep.
He's 7-3, and like we mentioned it briefly, it's because of his run game. He's committed himself to the run. He's took some chances. He got the leading rusher in the game against the Bears this week. We beat 24-14, which is a huge win. Huge win for him. He got his rookie Fanning going. He only had 3 attempts at 75 yards. Now that running back, it's no surprise that running back's a little bit injury prone. But when that running back stays on the field, I played him twice a year. He's very dangerous. let's see. What about the new Cleveland owner? Never gets any love. Do you think maybe he gets a good draft pick and he can compete in that division? Now we know that division's really tough. I mean, we know how good the Steelers can be. Cincinnati's shown life, but the guy's 4-6.
Yeah, I would definitely say I'm very unfamiliar with the Cleveland Browns owner, the team. You know what I mean? Just in general, so I can't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can help me out, I don't.
Well, I do know this. If you're a very familiar real life fan of the Browns, you won't recognize these Browns. They got Tony Romo. They got Demarius Thomas, who I think was a great pickup. But this team does not look anything like what they look like in real life. I think they even have Roy Williams. I think they have Anthony Armstrong. So they have no familiar faces. He basically put that team. Yeah, it's Roy Williams he's got. He basically put that team exactly how he wants. He's building, but he's not building your grandma's, Browns, if you will, which might be a good thing because the Browns didn't look like that good of an organization from the beginning of the league. When we first did our ugly podcast, if you will, our very first one when we were studying, kind of like this when we were stuttering and all these things. I did that on purpose, but. When we did all those things, we didn't really think the Browns were that good of a team. And maybe it's a good thing he's rebuilding. But they don't look, I don't know. Roy Williams isn't going to last very long. Demarius Thomas is a good pickup. Do you think Tony Romo is a good quarterback? Because obviously the Dallas Cowboys did.
Yeah, I would have taken him on my team if I was the Cleveland Browns. Yep, he's definitely a good core quarterback to have on your team. He's a middle. He's been in the league 10 years. He's rated 88 overall, A potential. He's only 32. So yeah, he's definitely a good building block and can make some good throws.
Yeah, and I think it was a good move for him. I personally think it was kind of a good move for Dallas though, because Dallas was pretty much over him. If you will, in the reality sense, they kind of had a breakup, and he wasn't going to do anything in Dallas. He kind of. He gave up on him. And when anyone gives up on a quarterback, it's pretty much over. And that's why you always ask me, did I give up on Stafford? And remember what I told you last week, I told you that I don't think it's really Stafford. I think it's almost everyone else around him. I said if somebody can give Stafford a little bit of help, I think he won't have to throw so many interceptions. And I hate to bring this up to you, but I beat you this week.
Yes, you did.
And Matthew didn't throw any interceptions. And I managed the game exactly how I wanted to. I only threw, 17 passes, completed 12 of them, threw 1 touchdown. A lot of times I put myself in a hole, and admittedly I put myself in a hole, and I throw too many interceptions. There's no question about it. This week I simplified it. Now I can simplify it because I know Stocks, because Stocks knows me. I know his game plan, he knows mine so well. So sometimes, when you're playing chess with somebody that you know so well, sometimes you try to get too fancy. You try something, completely new to kind of throw off that guy. My philosophy this week, Stocks, is to keep it simple. Because I knew you already knew how I play anyway, so I was like, well, there's no trying to disguise it. I'm not going to try to disguise a lot of things. I'm not going to go out there and, pretend like I'm doing something and show something and then do the opposite. I mean, I knew you knew my game plan, and I knew yours, so I figured we were on an even playing field, and, I just went out there and tried to keep it simple. Drew Brees throwing 5 interceptions really hurt. I will say, though, your defense stopped my run. I ran pretty much to keep the pass open, but your defense did a good job on my run.
Yeah, that's all about I can say good in this game. Was, my defensive goal line stance. Held Big LaShaw from scoring. So, but no, on the other side is just you played your simple game plan, and it's enough. When you're handed 5 interceptions, you just take it. You know what I mean? And you did that.
Now, having played me, and you always ask me questions even on this podcast, do you think the simple way is a good way for me to play?
Of course it is. It is because you have intricate parts on your team that if you, as in Stafford, maybe almost what Breeze is doing is trying to do too much, and it costs your team.
And I'm not just talking about me. A lot of people
Yeah.
try to get too fancy with a playbook, or they try a gadget play, or the wildcat, or a quarterback scramble. Sometimes football is simple, but this game definitely, I think, more than anything this season, all things in the offseason, the thing I'm most looking forward to is how does my strong safety rookie, help me out with the name, I think you say it Kinsler, Kiner.
That sounds good, yeah.
So you can say how you want, but that guy, I'm just going to say, he's Killer Kinsler, man. He really, I mean, for a strong safety to have 2 interceptions is pretty, that's more
That's
free.
solid, yeah.
That's more your free safety. Your strong safety is more your guy comes up and you run support. And he's at 5 interceptions and 39 tackles.
The 39 tackles stands out.
39 tackles is a linebacker, tackles.
Yeah, exactly. And he's playing strong safety.
So, I have to say,
He's got 3 sacks, so he's doing something right.
I have to say that's the reason I won this game, and the reason I've been in some games.
Yeah, he was player of the game.
Is there any other games you want to cover? Any other things you want to say? That's all I got for this week. Again, I won the game. I'm 1-9 now. Everyone can, kind of say, well, maybe you should have lost to the number one. I don't want the number one pick. The number one pick's a bad thing. It's a good thing for a good player. I don't want the number one pick. I'm glad I got the win. Anyone can win in this league. So next week, go out there. You never know. Hey, I don't know who the Rams got, coming up. What week are we in now? Week 12? Something like that. So maybe the Rams get the win now. He lost pretty bad this week to the Cleveland Browns. But, man, Rams, it's not even about the playoffs anymore. It's not even about the record. You just got to go out there, pretend your record's 0-0 or something, man. Go out there and take one game at a time and just try to improve. And, that's all I got. I think maybe it would, what's sad though? It probably would have been a good game this week. It hasn't been played yet. Arizona at San Fran. But the last year, if you would have told me that game, I would have said, oh, that's the game of the week for week 11 or week 12, whatever week we're in. But this week, I got to say, Arizona's kind of let me down this year. San Fran's kind of surprised me. They're the surprise team we don't ever talk about.
Yeah, San Fran's definitely a surprise team, but, San Fran's, I like their defense.
Yeah, it starts and ends with Patrick Willis. I mean, he is the anchor, he's the ship, he's the, captain, he's everything that, you'd want in a player. He's the whole package. And when you got a guy like that, it makes it really hard to do everything. But, what was it? The Cardinals were 0-6, and they made it to the playoffs.
At the end of the season, exactly.
I think it's safe to say they're not going to make the playoffs this year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they steal the wild card, somehow, some way. But I think the wild card comes out of the Steelers division. And so I think the Cardinals are done. And I don't really know. I thought the Cardinals had it going. I really did. I thought he even put together some good wins this season. He finished good last season, as you know. He started 0-6, and he started reeling off games. Maybe that's the case of what I've always been saying. You got to change it up from year to year. I mean, you got to stick with what got you there, but you got to adjust little things to make it work. Now, last year, he was keeping it conservative and throwing to, keeping it conservative for Kevin Kolb. Is Kevin Kolb the most overpaid, overvalued quarterback?
No, he's definitely up there.
Now this isn't the Cardinals' fault. I mean, he acquired the Cardinals with, Kevin Kolb's big contract. I guarantee you he wants to get rid of that contract. But he can't. And when you're in a cap league, it affects things because there's no way he's going to get rid of him. So he's got to work with Kevin Kolb. Unfortunately, to be honest with you, I would try anything to trade Kevin Kolb. I'd probably even take a 5th-round pick for him if someone would do it.
Yeah, but his total is $63 million.
What's his cap hit?
For this year?
Yeah.
That's 20,000. His salary is 4.7. His bonus is 4 million. His total is 8.7.
So what's his bonus?
4 million.
That's what he'd have to pay, I think, to get him off the team.
So what's the cap penalty? Is 20.
Oh, maybe that's the cap. Oh my.
Does that go towards the
no. He'd have to pay 20 million to get him off the team. Wow. Well, I think you're stuck with it, man. Sorry, but luckily you're not stuck with us. We're gonna get out of here on this. Have a good week, fellas. Play your games fair, straight up. You know, Manny started singing that song what was it, last year he started singing this song and he wanted us to join in. Don't worry, we're not going to sing any songs. Just play straight up, play fair this week, and get things done. Keep fighting, keep going to the playoffs, and I'm out.